She ruined my wedding and hid behind tears. I turned her myth into my love story and made her watch every second of it. The smell of lilies always made me want to vomit. Not because I don't like flowers, I used to love them, but lilies were the flowers that decorated my wedding. The wedding that never happened. The wedding that was destroyed by 6 words uttered by someone I called my best friend. He assaulted me 3 months ago. Today, 13 months after that devastating day, I stood at the door of a cafe in Seattle holding an envelope that contained the truth. The truth that Claire Donovan had hidden behind perfectly timed tears and an Oscar-worthy performance. The truth that was about to change everything. Inside the cafe, through the window fogged by Seattle rain, I could see Thomas Reed, my ex-fiancé, the man I had abandoned based on a lie. He was sitting alone, stirring coffee that was probably cold, looking at a laptop but clearly seeing nothing. He looked different, thinner, a beard he didn't have when we met, eyes that carried a weight that wasn't there before. And it was my fault. Not completely, Claire had orchestrated everything, but I had chosen to believe her instead of him. I had chosen her tears over his protests. There's a difference between being deceived and choosing to be deceived. Claire manipulated me, yes, but I also failed to question. I failed to investigate. I failed to trust the man who swore to love me. And that failure haunted me every day for the past 13 months. I took a deep breath and entered. The bell above the door chimed, that same annoying sound that was everywhere in Seattle, and Thomas looked up. Our eyes met, and I saw shock, pain, anger, and something else. Something that could be hope, but was probably just my wish seeing what it wanted to see. Isabel! He stood up so fast he knocked over his chair. What are you doing here? Hi, Thomas, I said, my voice calmer than I felt. Can we talk? Talk? He let out a bitter laugh. Now you want to talk? 13 months after calling me a monster in front of 200 people? I never called you a monster, I said, but the words sounded weak even to me. You didn't, Thomas replied. You believed her, without questioning, without giving me a chance to defend myself. You just believed. I know, I said, tears already forming. God, Thomas, I'm so sorry, but I need you to listen. I need you to see something. See what? He asked, but there was curiosity in his voice now. More evidence? More reasons to believe I'm a monster? No, I said, placing the envelope on the table between us. Evidence that you were always innocent, that Claire lied about everything. The silence that followed was absolute. Thomas looked at the envelope as if it were a venomous snake. What are you saying? I'm saying, I took a deep breath, that Claire Donovan made everything up. The accusation, the evidence, everything. And I can prove it. Thomas fell back into the chair, his breathing uneven. How? How did you find out? Your brother, I said, Marcus. He never believed Claire, so he investigated. And he found things, Thomas. Terrible things. I opened the envelope, spread documents on the table. This is Jennifer Walsh. She went to college with Claire. And 6 years ago, Claire did the exact same thing, falsely accused Jennifer's boyfriend of assault to break them up. Thomas picked up the document, began to read, and I saw his face whiten. She did this before? Yes, I confirmed, and there's more. Marcus gained access to Claire's therapy sessions. Legally questionable, but the therapist agreed to violate confidentiality because Claire represents a danger to others. I placed the recorder on the table. You need to hear this. I pressed play. Claire's voice filled the cafe, clear as crystal. I knew I had to break them up. Isabel didn't deserve Thomas. She never did anything to deserve him. So I created a situation. I sent messages from his phone when he left it at my apartment. I created evidence. And then, at the wedding, when everyone was watching, I did my performance. And it worked perfectly. The recording continued, but Thomas was no longer listening. He was looking at me, tears streaming down his face. "You believe this? You really believe I'm innocent?" "I believe it," I said, my own voice broken. "And I'm so sorry. So sorry for not believing you sooner, for not giving you a chance, for letting her destroy what we had." Apologies are strange. You can say them 1,000 times, but they never seem enough. Because how do you apologize for believing someone you love is a monster? How do you apologize for destroying their life based on a lie? There are no words big enough for that kind of betrayal. "What do you want, Isabel?" Thomas asked finally. "Why did you come here? To ease your conscience? To feel better about abandoning me?" "No," I said. "I came because I want to fix this. I want to expose Claire. I want the world to know what she did. And—" I stopped, gathering courage. "And I want you back, if you still want me." Thomas looked at me for a long moment. "You destroyed my life, Isabel, my reputation, my career. I had to move to another state because no one in Boston believed I was innocent. My own parents doubted me." "I know," I whispered. "And now you show up 13 months later with evidence and apologies, and you expect me to what? To fall into your arms and pretend nothing happened?" "No," I said. "I don't expect that. But I hope you'll give me a chance to prove how sorry I am, a chance to help expose Claire, and maybe a chance to rebuild what she destroyed." Thomas closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. When he opened them, there was something different in them. Not forgiveness, not yet, but possibility. "How do you want to expose her?" he asked. And it was then that I told him my plan, the plan that Marcus and I had devised, the plan that was risky, potentially cruel, but absolutely necessary. "We're going to get married," I said, "again. We're going to have another wedding, and we're going to invite Claire. We're going to make her sit in the front row and watch as we get married. And then, at the end of the ceremony, we're going to expose her, publicly, with all the evidence. We're going to turn her moment of victory into her complete destruction." Thomas looked at me as if I had gone mad. "You want to marry me as revenge against Claire?" "No," I corrected. "I want to marry you because I love you, because I never stopped loving you. Claire's exposure is just a bonus, justice, what she deserves after destroying so many lives." "What if I say no?" Thomas asked. "What if I say I can't forgive, that I can't trust you again?" "Then I accept it," I said. "And I'll still expose Claire, because she needs to be stopped. But Thomas," my voice broke, "I really hope you say yes, because I love you, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving it, if you let me." The silence stretched between us. Outside, the Seattle rain continued to fall. People passed by the window, oblivious to the moment happening inside that cafe. A moment that would determine if love could survive the cruelest betrayal. Finally, Thomas spoke. "I need time. I need to process all of this. But, Isabel," he took my hand across the table, "I never stopped loving you either. Even when I hated you, even when I tried to move on, you were always you." "So you'll think about it?" I asked, hope rising. "I'll think about it," he promised. "But if we do this, if we really do this, we do it right. Not just as revenge, but as a real fresh start. As a chance to build something new from what Claire tried to destroy." "I would like that," I said, "more than anything." And for the first time in 13 months, I felt something I had forgotten how to feel: hope. A week after that cafe meeting, Thomas and I were sitting in Marcus's apartment in Seattle, surrounded by evidence against Claire. Documents, recordings, testimonies, years of manipulation and lies carefully documented. "Jennifer Walsh has agreed to testify," Marcus said, pointing to a written deposition. "She was scared before, but when she learned Claire did this again, she decided she needed to speak." "What exactly did Claire do to Jennifer?" Thomas asked. Marcus opened a file. Jennifer was engaged to a guy named David Chen. Claire was her best friend at the time. 3 weeks before the wedding, Claire accused David of assaulting her at a party. Same story. She was drunk, he took advantage, she was too traumatized to report it to the police, but felt Jennifer deserved to know. And Jennifer believed her? I asked, though I already knew the answer. I had done the same thing. Of course, Marcus said. Claire is convincing. She cries at the right times, she has specific details, she makes you feel that questioning her is questioning all real victims. And there was the cruel genius of Claire's manipulation. She used a real movement, real pain, of real victims as a shield for her lies. She knew that in a #MeToo climate of believe women, questioning her would be seen as betrayal, and she weaponized that perfectly.
But David was innocent,
Thomas said. Completely, Marcus confirmed, and he tried to prove it. But Claire had evidence, messages she herself had sent from his phone, witnesses she had convinced had seen something. David eventually gave up. He and Jennifer broke up. He moved to another state, and Claire continued to be the brave friend who saved Jennifer.
Until Jennifer discovered the truth.
I said. Yes, Marcus nodded. 2 years later, Claire was drunk at a party, confessed to another friend. The friend told Jennifer. But by then, David had already moved on. He was married to someone else, and Jennifer carried the guilt of having destroyed an innocent man.
Thomas was pale now. So Claire did this at least twice, to me and to David.
At least, Marcus said. I'm investigating other situations. There are rumors of more cases, but people are afraid to speak, afraid of being sued for defamation, afraid of Claire.
But not anymore,
I said. With Jennifer testifying, with the therapist's recordings, with all the evidence, Claire can no longer hide.
There's a problem, Marcus said hesitantly. The therapist's recording. She violated doctor-patient confidentiality. It may not be admissible in court, and Dr. Morrison could lose her license for it.
Does she know? I asked. She knows, and she's willing. She said Claire represents a clear and present danger to others, that her conscience no longer allows her to stay quiet. But, he paused, but it means our public exposure at the wedding might be our only chance. Because if we go to court without admissible evidence, Claire can sue us for defamation.
Thomas stood up, began to pace. So let me get this straight. We're going to get married, again, and in the middle of the ceremony, we're going to accuse Claire of lying about sexual assault based on a recording that may not be legal and the testimony of a woman Claire can claim is lying for revenge?
When you put it that way, it sounds crazy, I admitted.
Because it is crazy. Isabel, Claire can destroy us. She can sue. She can make us look like the villains.
Or, I said, we can do it so publicly, with so much evidence, that she has no choice but to admit it. Think, 200 witnesses, video of the ceremony, everything recorded. If Claire denies it afterward, she looks like a liar.
What if she simply doesn't show up?
Thomas asked. She'll come, I said, with certainty, because Claire can't resist. She'll want to be there. She'll want to see if we can actually get married after what she did. And she'll want to be ready to save the situation if necessary.
Marcus nodded. Isabel is right. I've studied Claire's psychological profile. She's a narcissist. She needs to be at the center.
She won't miss a chance to be at your wedding, especially if she thinks she can have control over the situation. So we send the invitation, Thomas said slowly, and we hope she takes the bait. And we prepare everything, I added, every word we're going to say, every piece of evidence we're going to present. We make it impossible for her to deny. Thomas looked at me, and there was something in his eyes now, not just anger or pain, but determination. All right, let's do this. But Isabel, I need to know, are you doing this for me or for revenge? Both, I admitted honestly. I'm doing it for you because you deserve to have your name cleared. I'm doing it for revenge because Claire destroyed our lives and deserves to pay. But most importantly, I took his hand, I'm doing it because I want to marry you, really marry you. And I won't let the memory of what Claire did haunt our future. I'm going to turn the worst day of my life into the beginning of something better. There's a difference between revenge and justice. Revenge is about making someone suffer. Justice is about restoring balance. And what we were planning was both. We were going to make Claire suffer, yes, but we were also going to restore the truth. We were going to clear Thomas's name. We were going to reclaim what she stole. In the following weeks, we planned meticulously. We booked a venue, not the same one where the first wedding was supposed to be, but an equally beautiful place in Seattle. We sent invitations to close family and friends, and yes, we sent an invitation to Claire. The invitation to Claire was special. It included a handwritten note. Claire, I know what happened 13 months ago was difficult for all of us, but Thomas and I have decided to move forward. We've decided to believe in love and forgiveness. It would mean a lot to have you there, my oldest friend, to witness our new beginning. Please come, front row, specially reserved for you. It was pure manipulation. I was using language Claire would use. Forgiveness, a new beginning, friendship. I was making it seem like I had gotten over what she did. I was making her think she had won in some way. And it worked. 3 days after sending the invitation, I received a response from Claire. Handwritten on expensive paper, lavender-scented. Always lavender with her. Dearest Isabel, I'm so happy you found peace. Of course I'll be there. I'll always be here for you, no matter what. With love, Claire. When I read it to Thomas, he went pale. She really believes she's the hero of this story. She always believed it, I said. That's how narcissists work. They rewrite reality to fit their narrative. In Claire's mind, she saved me, and now she's going to support my new beginning, even if it's with a man she knows to be dangerous. It makes me sick, Thomas said. I know, I agreed. But in a few weeks, she's going to face reality, and there will be no rewriting that. 2 weeks before the wedding, Jennifer Walsh flew to Seattle to meet us. She was a small woman, in her 30s, with eyes that carried a weight of guilt I recognized all too well. Thank you for doing this, I said when we sat down. I should have done it years ago, Jennifer said. I should have exposed Claire when I found out, but I was scared, ashamed. I had destroyed David based on a lie, and I didn't know how to fix it. You were manipulated, Thomas said gently, like Isabel was, like I was. Claire is very good at what she does. But not anymore, Jennifer said, and there was steel in her voice now. I won't let her do this to anyone else. I'll be there at the wedding. I'll testify. And I'll make sure the world knows who Claire Donovan really is. It's going to be difficult, I warned. Claire will deny it. She'll cry. She'll make you look like the villain. I know, Jennifer said, but I have something I didn't have before. I have you guys. I have Marcus. I have evidence. And I have the truth. And the truth, eventually, always wins. If you are enjoying this story, please like and subscribe to the channel. Share in the comments if you have ever experienced manipulation from someone who hid behind victimhood. A week before the wedding, Claire called me. It was late at night, and I was at Thomas's apartment going over the final details of the ceremony and the exposure that would follow. Hi, Belle, she said, using the nickname only she used. How are you? Hi, Claire, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. I'm fine, busy with the final preparations. I imagine, she said, and there was something in her voice, something I couldn't quite place. Listen, I was wondering, are you sure about this? About marrying Thomas? My whole body tensed. Why do you ask? Because, Claire paused, because I care about you, Belle. I always have. And I just want to make sure you're doing this for the right reasons, not out of pressure or because you feel like you have to prove something. And there was Claire doing what she did best, planting doubts, creating uncertainty, all wrapped in false concern. She couldn't stop manipulating, even now. It was like breathing for her. I'm doing it because I love Thomas, I said firmly, and because he loves me, and because we deserve to be happy together. Of course, Claire said quickly. Of course you do. I just wanted to be sure. Because after what happened? You mean after you accused him of assault? I said, unable to hold back. Silence on the other end. Then, Isabel, I know it was difficult, but I did what I thought was right. I was trying to protect you. Protect me from what, Claire? I asked, and Thomas looked at me, concern in his eyes. I was going off script. I should have been keeping Claire calm, confident, but the anger was overflowing. From being hurt, Claire said, and her voice had that trembling quality now. Belle, I know you don't want to believe it. I know it's easier to think I lied, but I didn't lie. What Thomas did to me? Stop, I said. Just stop, Claire. I'm not going to discuss this with you now. I'm marrying Thomas. You can come or not. Your choice. I'll be there, Claire said quickly. Of course I will. I would never abandon you, Belle, no matter what. Great, I said. Then I'll see you there. I hung up before she could say more. My hands were shaking. Are you okay? Thomas asked. No, I admitted. Hearing her still lying, still playing the victim, it makes me sick. Just one more week, Thomas said, pulling me into a hug. Just one more week and everyone will know the truth. But Claire's call had left me uneasy. There was something in her voice, something that suggested she knew more than she should. I called Marcus. Do you think Claire suspects something? I asked. It's possible, Marcus admitted. She's smart. She might have noticed you're being too distant or too close. She might be testing you. So what do? We stick to the plan, Marcus said, but we stay alert. If Claire suspects, she might try something. She might try to sabotage the wedding before it happens. He was right to be concerned. 3 days before the wedding, I received a message from my mother, Patricia Martinez. Isabel, we need to talk. Claire called me. She's worried about you, says you're not being yourself, that Thomas might be manipulating you. Darling, are you sure about this wedding? I called my mother immediately. Mom, what exactly did Claire say? She said you seemed distant, my mother explained, that you weren't sharing wedding details with her like you used to, that Thomas might be isolating you from your friends. Mom, I said carefully, Claire is lying about everything, and you'll see that at the wedding. But I need you to trust me until then. Can you do that? Isabel, you're scaring me. I know, but trust me, please. Just 3 more days. My mother agreed, but I could hear doubt in her voice. Claire was planting seeds, preparing the ground for what? For another accusation? For another performance? She's going to try something at the wedding, Thomas said when I told him. She's going to try to stop us before we can expose her. Then we stop her first, I said. Marcus, can you have extra security at the venue? People who can intervene if Claire tries to cause a scene before the right time? It's already taken care of, Marcus said. I have 3 security guards disguised as guests. If Claire tries anything before the ceremony ends, they'll contain her, gently but firmly. What if she simply doesn't show up? Thomas asked. What if she realizes it's a trap? Then we expose her anyway, I said. We have the wedding, we tell the story, we show the evidence, and we let the world judge. But Thomas, I looked at him, if Claire doesn't come, it means we actually get married. No drama, no public exposure, just the 2 of us, promising to spend our lives together. Are you ready for that? Thomas smiled, and it was the first genuine smile I had seen from him in weeks. I've been ready for that since the day I met you. Claire's exposure is just a bonus. There's a strength that comes from facing your worst fear and surviving. Thomas and I had been destroyed by Claire's lie. We had been separated, humiliated, broken. But we had survived. And now, rebuilt and stronger, we were ready to face her again. But this time, with truth as our weapon. On the morning of the wedding, I woke up to a message from Claire. Belle, I'm so excited for today. I can't wait to see you walk down the aisle. You deserve all the happiness in the world. See you there. I showed it to Thomas. She doesn't suspect a thing. Or she's a better actress than we thought, Thomas said. Either way, today she finds out the game is over. Today, I agreed, Claire Donovan faces the truth, and there won't be enough tears in the world to save her this time. The venue was beautiful. White roses, not lilies, never again lilies, decorated every surface. Soft lights created a romantic atmosphere. 100 guests filled the chairs, murmuring in anticipation. And in the front row, left side, sat Claire Donovan. She was wearing a light blue dress, hair perfectly styled, impeccable makeup. She smiled at me as I entered, a smile that probably looked genuine to anyone who didn't know her as well as I did. But I saw the calculation behind it. I saw her assessing the situation, looking for angles, preparing her next move. Except this time, there would be no next move. Marcus was at the back of the room, cameras already recording everything. Jennifer Walsh was sitting 3 rows behind Claire, her written testimony ready. And Thomas was at the altar, waiting for me, confidence and love in his eyes. The music began, a wedding march. I started walking down the aisle, my father by my side. And for the first time in 13 months, I felt no fear. I felt power. Claire watched me walk, that smile still in place. She didn't know. She really didn't know what was about to happen. The ceremony began normally. The priest spoke of love, commitment, forgiveness. Thomas and I exchanged vows we wrote ourselves, vows that spoke of overcoming adversity, of choosing to believe in each other, of building a future based on truth. And then the moment came. The moment Claire had destroyed 13 months ago. If anyone has an objection to this marriage, the priest said, speak now or forever hold your peace. Absolute silence. All eyes turned to Claire. She was rigid in her seat, clearly struggling with herself. I could see it. She wanted to get up. She wanted to put on another performance. But something was holding her back. Maybe it was the fact that she had done it before. Maybe it was because she knew doing it again would look suspicious. Or maybe, just maybe, she sensed something was wrong. The priest waited. 5 seconds. 10. 15. Nothing. Very well, the priest said. Then, by the power vested in me... Wait, I said, suddenly. Before we continue, there's something Thomas and I would like to share with all of you. Confusion rippled through the crowd. The priest looked at me, questioning, but Thomas nodded, encouraging. 13 months ago, I began, my voice clear and firm, Thomas and I were here. Well, not exactly here, but at a similar ceremony. Ready to get married, ready to start our lives together. And then, at that crucial moment, someone stood up. Someone I called my best friend, and she made a devastating accusation. Claire was pale now. She knew. Finally, she knew. Claire Donovan, I said, looking directly at her, accused Thomas of sexual assault, and I believed her, without questioning, without investigating. I simply believed. Isabel, Claire began, standing up, but Marcus was there, gently but firmly making her sit down again. But there was a problem, I continued. Claire's accusation was a lie, a complete, calculated, cruel lie. And I can prove it. There's a moment in every exposé where you see the person realize it's over, that there's no way out, that all their lies, all their manipulation are about to be revealed. I saw that moment on Claire's face now. I saw panic, anger, despair, all competing for dominance. I signaled to Marcus. He began distributing documents to the guests, copies of the evidence, Jennifer's testimony, the therapy transcripts. Claire, I said, you did this before. 6 years ago, you destroyed Jennifer Walsh and David Chen's relationship with the exact same accusation. Same story, same tactics. And when Jennifer found out you had lied, you threatened her to stay quiet. Jennifer stood up. It's true. Claire Donovan lied about David, and I was foolish enough to believe her. But not anymore. I won't let her destroy any more lives. This is ridiculous, Claire said, her voice rising. You're conspiring against me. Isabel, how could you do this? I tried to save you. Save you from what? Thomas asked, stepping down from the altar. From a man who loved you? From a happy relationship? Or were you trying to destroy me because you couldn't have what Isabel and I had? I didn't, Claire was crying now, but the tears looked different this time. Not calculated, real, tears of someone who knew they had lost. We have recordings, I said, from your therapy sessions, where you admit to making everything up, where you say you did it because I didn't deserve Thomas, where you laugh about how easy it was to manipulate me. That's illegal, Claire screamed. You can't use that. Maybe not in court, Marcus said, approaching, but you can use it in the court of public opinion. And Claire, everyone here heard it. Everyone here knows who you really are. Claire looked around the room, at the guests who stared at her in horror, at my mother who was crying, at her own parents who looked devastated. You don't understand, Claire said, and her voice was broken now. You don't know what it's like to always be the second choice, always in the shadows. Isabel had everything, the beauty, the talent, the love, and I had nothing. So yes, I tried to take something from her. I tried to make her feel a fraction of the pain I always felt. So you admit it, Thomas said. You admit you lied. Claire looked at him, then at me, and finally, she spoke the truth. Yes, I lied. About everything. You never touched me, Thomas. You never did anything wrong. I made it up because I wanted to destroy you both. Because if I couldn't be happy, why should Isabel be? The silence that followed was absolute. And then my mother stood up. Get out, she said to Claire. Get out now, and never speak to my daughter again. Aunt Patricia, Claire began, but my mother cut her off. No, you have no right to call me that, not after what you did. You destroyed my daughter. You destroyed an innocent man, and all out of jealousy, out of envy, out of pure cruelty. Tears streamed down my mother's face. I loved you like a daughter, and you used that to hurt my family. Claire's parents stood up, faces pale with shame. Let's go, Claire, her father said. Let's leave. No, Claire said, and there was desperation in her voice now. No, I won't. You can't make me leave. I have a right. You have no rights here, Marcus said, and if you don't leave voluntarily, the security guards will escort you out. Claire looked around one last time, at the guests who looked at her with disgust, at me and Thomas, together and unbreakable, at the life she had tried to destroy, but which had survived despite her. I hate you, she said to me, and finally the mask had completely fallen. I always hated you, and I'll continue to hate you, because you have everything and I have nothing. You're right, I said calmly. You have nothing, because you wasted your life trying to destroy mine instead of building your own. And now, Claire, you're going to have to live with that. Claire left, escorted by security guards, her parents following behind. And when the door closed behind her, I felt as if a weight of years had been lifted from my shoulders. So, the priest said, clearly shocked but trying to regain composure, shall we continue? Thomas and I looked at each other and laughed, a real, liberating, joyful laugh. Yes, we said together, let's continue. And there, surrounded by people who loved us, with the truth finally exposed and Claire finally defeated, Thomas and I got married. For real this time. No interruptions, no lies, just love. 6 months after that cathartic wedding, Thomas and I were sitting on the porch of our home in Portland, Oregon, far from Boston, far from Seattle, far from painful memories, starting fresh in a place that was all ours. The sun was setting, painting the sky pink and orange. Thomas was reading, I was just watching, and for the first time in years, I felt completely at peace. My phone rang, unknown number. I hesitated, but answered. Isabel? A woman's voice that took a moment to recognize. It's Claire. My whole body tensed. Thomas looked at me, concern in his eyes, but I shook my head. I was fine. "What do you want, Claire?" I asked, my voice colder than I felt. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything. I know it doesn't change what I did, but I'm in therapy, real therapy this time, and I'm working on understanding why I did what I did. "And," I asked, "what did you find out?" "That I was broken," Claire said. Her voice choked. "That I spent so much time comparing my life to yours that I forgot to live my own life. That I turned you into an enemy when you only wanted to be my friend." Apologies are strange. Sometimes they come too late. Sometimes they change nothing. But sometimes they are the beginning of something. Not reconciliation necessarily, but closure, of peace. "I don't forgive you," I said, honestly. "Not yet. Maybe never completely. What you did, it destroyed years of my life, years of Thomas's life. You can't just apologize and expect everything to be okay." "I know," Claire said. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just saying I'm sorry. And I hope you're happy, that you both are happy." "We are," I said. "Despite you, because of you, in a way. Because what you did forced us to fight for our love. It forced us to prove it was real." "Good," Claire said. "And then, I'm moving to another state, a new beginning, away from everyone I hurt." "That's good," I said. "I hope you find peace, Claire. Real peace. Not the false peace you built by destroying others." "Thank you," Claire said. "And Isabel, I really am sorry. For everything." She hung up before I could reply. Thomas looked at me. "How are you feeling?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me is still angry. Part of me feels pity. Claire wasted so much time, so much energy, and for what?" "For nothing," Thomas said. "But it's not our problem anymore. She made her choices. Now she has to live with them." "And us?" I asked. "We made our choices too. We chose to forgive each other. We chose to rebuild. Do you regret it?" "Never," Thomas said, pulling me into his arms. "Because yes, Claire almost destroyed us, but almost doesn't count. We survived, and now we're stronger." In the following weeks, Claire's story spread. The video of the exposure at the wedding had leaked online, not by us, but by some guest. It had gone viral, millions of views. Comments divided between those who supported us and those who thought we had been too cruel. But the truth had come out, and David Chen, the man Claire had falsely accused years earlier, finally had his name cleared. He contacted me grateful. "You don't know what this means," he said. "To spend years being seen as a monster, it's torture. Thank you for having the courage to expose Claire." "Thank you for surviving," I replied, "for not letting her lies completely destroy you." Jennifer Walsh also contacted me. "I finally got to sleep," she said, "for the first time in years, because the truth is out and Claire can't hurt anyone anymore." But there were also messages from other people Claire had manipulated over the years, people who had their own stories of how Claire had lied, manipulated, destroyed. "She did that to me too," a woman wrote. "Not with an assault accusation, but with other lies. She destroyed my friendship with my best friend because she was jealous. Thank you for finally stopping her." And I realized Claire wasn't just my villain, she was many people's villain. And by exposing her, I hadn't just freed myself, I had freed all of them too. There's power in telling your story, not just for yourself, but for everyone who has been silenced by the same person. Claire had operated for years because her victims were afraid to speak. But once one person spoke, others found courage, and together, our voices were louder than Claire's false tears. A year after the wedding, Thomas and I were back in Boston to visit family. It was Thanksgiving, and my mother had insisted we come. "Family needs to be together," she said, "especially after everything we've been through." Dinner was full. My parents, Thomas's brother Marcus and his new girlfriend, Jennifer Walsh and her new partner. People who had been affected by Claire, but who had survived, who had prospered. During the prayer of gratitude, my mother spoke. I am grateful for family, for love, for truth, and for second chances. Because a year ago, I almost lost my daughter to lies, but the truth prevailed, and now we are all here, together, stronger. Amen, we all said. After dinner, as I helped clean up, my mother pulled me aside. Isabel, there's something I need to tell you. What? Claire contacted me a few weeks ago. She wants to apologize, personally, to you, to Thomas, to all of us. My stomach tightened. And you want me to accept? No, my mother said. I want you to do what's right for you. If you want to listen, I support that. If you never want to see her again, I support that too. But I thought you should know. I thought about it for days. Part of me wanted to refuse, wanted to leave Claire in the past where she belonged. But another part felt it needed closure, real closure, not just public exposure. So I agreed. I would meet Claire, once, to hear what she had to say. We met at a neutral cafe in Boston. Claire arrived early, looking different. Shorter hair, no elaborate makeup, simple clothes. She looked smaller somehow, less threatening. Thank you for coming, she said when I sat down. I didn't come for you, I said. I came for me, because I need closure. I understand, Claire said. And Isabel, I have no excuses. I have no justifications. What I did was unforgivable. I destroyed you, Thomas, Jennifer, David. I destroyed so many people because I was so lost in my own pain that I couldn't see the pain I was causing. Why did you do it? I asked. Really, why did you hate me so much? I didn't hate you, Claire said, and there was truth in her voice now. I envied you. I envied you so much that it turned into something toxic. You had everything I wanted, a loving family, a happy relationship, self-confidence. And instead of working to build those things for myself, I tried to destroy them in you. And now, I asked, what do you have now? Therapy, Claire said. Lots of therapy. And an understanding that I need to build my own life instead of destroying others. I don't expect forgiveness, Isabel, but I hope you know that I'm trying to be better. I looked at her, the woman who almost destroyed my life, who hid behind tears while shamelessly lying, who weaponized victimhood for her own cruel ends. I hope you succeed, I said honestly. For you, not for me. Because, Claire, you wasted so much time being miserable, and life is too short for that. I know, Claire said. And Isabel, thank you for exposing me. I know it sounds strange, but it's what I needed. I needed to be forced to confront who I had become. Then something good came out of it, I said. But Claire, I don't want to see you again. I don't want updates on your life. I want you to leave me alone, completely. I will, Claire promised. You'll never hear from me again. And she kept her promise. I never heard from Claire Donovan again. She disappeared from my life as completely as she had been present before. 2 years after the wedding, Thomas and I were sitting in a doctor's office, waiting for an ultrasound. I was 5 months pregnant, and today we would find out the baby's sex. Are you nervous? Thomas asked. A little, I admitted, but more excited than nervous. After everything we've been through, it feels like a miracle. It is a miracle, Thomas agreed. We survived the worst, and now we're creating something new, something beautiful. The doctor entered, began the ultrasound, and there, on the screen, was our baby. Small, perfect, real. It's a girl, the doctor said. A healthy baby girl. Thomas and I looked at each other, tears in our eyes. A girl, I repeated. What should we name her? Thomas asked. Hope, I said. We'll name her Hope, because she is our hope, our proof that love survives, that truth wins, that we can build something beautiful from the ashes of what was destroyed. Hope, Thomas repeated, kissing my forehead. Perfect. In the end, Claire tried to destroy our marriage by hiding behind tears and lies. But what she didn't understand is that real love, love based on truth and trust, cannot be destroyed by lies. It can be tested, it can be hurt, but it cannot be destroyed. Thomas and I not only survived, we thrived. We built a beautiful life together. And our daughter, Hope, would be a constant reminder that even in the darkest situations, hope can blossom. Claire tried to write our story as a tragedy, but we rewrote it as a love story, and we made her watch every second of it. This story shows us that not every victim is innocent, and not every accusation is true. Claire Donovan weaponized an important movement, believing victims, for her own cruel ends. And in the process, she not only destroyed innocent lives, but also made it harder for real victims to be believed. But it also shows us that truth, no matter how long it takes to emerge, always finds its way to light. That real love survives, even the most elaborate lies. And that sometimes the best revenge is not to destroy those who hurt you. It's to thrive so completely that they are forced to watch you win. Isabel and Thomas didn't just expose Claire, they rebuilt themselves. They got married. They built a family. And in the process, they transformed the worst day of their lives into a catalyst for something stronger, truer, more precious. And Claire? Claire finally had to confront who she had become. She had to live with the consequences of her actions. She had to watch the people she tried to destroy thrive despite her. If this story touched you, if you have ever been falsely accused or know someone who has, know this: truth matters. Investigation matters. And believing victims doesn't mean blindly accepting every accusation without question. It means taking accusations seriously while also protecting the innocent. Subscribe to the channel for more stories of betrayal, truth, and overcoming. Let us know in the comments, how do we balance believing victims with protecting the innocent? And always remember, tears can be as powerful a weapon as words, but truth, eventually, always wins. Always. Final question for reflection. When someone hides behind victimization to hurt others, how do we expose the truth without harming real victims? Is it possible? And how do we protect both, true victims and innocent accused? The answer is not simple, but it starts with truth. Always truth.